So we are reading from Canto 10, the Summum Bonum, Chapter 10, the Deliverance of the Yamala-arjuna Trees, and we are on text 10. So let's read the verse. Devasam nitam api ante krimi vidbhasma samnitam bhutadruk tatkrite swartham kim veda nirayo yataha. Synonyms. Deva Samnitam, the body now known as a very exalted person, like president, minister, or even demigod. Api, even if the body is so exalted. Ante, after death. Krimi, turn into worms, with or into stool. Bhasma Samnitam, or into ashes. Bhutadruk, a person who does not accept the Shastric injunctions and is unnecessarily envious of other living entities. Tat krite, by acting in that way. Swartham, self-interest. Kim, who is there. Veda, who knows. Niraya yataha, because from such sinful activities one must suffer hellish conditions. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. While living, one may be proud of one's body, thinking oneself a very big man, minister, president, or even demigod. But whatever one may be, after death, this body will turn either into worms, into stool, or into ashes. If one kills poor animals to satisfy the temporary whims of this body, one does not know that he will suffer in his next birth, for such a sinful miscreant must go to hell and suffer the result of his actions. Would anybody like to read the purport, please?
I can read, Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the three words karmi with bhasma are significant. After death, sorry, I can't see it properly.
The body.
Oh, the body become karmi, which means worms. For if the body is disposed of without cremation, it may be eaten by worms, or else it may be eaten by animals like hogs and vultures, and to be turned into stool. Those who are more civilized burn the dead body, and thus it becomes ashes. Bhasma Savnitam. Yet, although the body will be turned into worms, stool, or ashes, foolish persons, just to maintain it, commit many sinful activities. This is certainly regrettable. The human form of body is actually meant for Gyasa Tattva Jnanasa, enlightenment and knowledge of spiritual values. Therefore, one must seek shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Tasmat Guruna Prapadyata. One must approach a guru who is a guru. Sapte Pare Cha Nisnantam. Bhagavata 11.3.21. A guru is one who has full transcendental knowledge. Unless one approaches a spiritual master, one remains in ignorance. Acharyavan Purushoveda
Chandogya Upanishad.
6.14.2. Thank you, Mataji. One has full knowledge about life when one is Acharyavan, controlled by the Acharya. But when one is conducted by Rajaguna and Tamaguna, one does not care about anything. Instead, one acts like an ordinary foolish animal, risking his life, mrityu samsara vartamani, and therefore continuing to go through suffering after suffering. Nate vidusvartha gatim hi Vishnu, Bhagavatam 7.5.31. Such a foolish person does not know how to elevate himself in this body. Instead, he indulges in sinful activities and goes deeper and deeper into hellish life. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Om Ajnanatiram Dasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So as we read this text, we realize that there are three fates of a human body, or for that matter, any body. There are three fates. Krimi, which means worms, either the body will turn into worms at the time of death after dying, or vid, which means stool, turn into stool, or bhasma samnitam, ashes. Okay, so for most civilized people, it's going to turn into ashes. And this is irrespective of one's birth. It's high, it's human. If you're human, if you're a deva, you're a king, the body ends the same way. There is no one out there whose body will end in a different way. Right? So I remember last week I had gone to the school, and as I sat in the staff room, there's a teacher. I always take prashadam, and a lot of times everybody actually they just enjoy our prashadam. But there is one teacher who never eats prashadam. He always says he can only eat meat, he cannot eat vegetables. And he says it is better to die enjoying eating meat and indulging than to be healthy and being conscious. Right? So I was surprised that people live in such ignorance out there despite knowing what is healthy, despite knowing that there is a way out there of living consciously, despite knowing, uh, killing animals is bad, it's not the best thing. Despite all of that, just for sense gratification, people are happy to be eating meat, people are happy to live in ignorance. And this is a very common mentality even for someone who is educated. So, this is a teacher I'm talking about, someone who is a guru to the students in the material world, in the material sense, but they can completely forget or they want to remain forgotten about the real purpose of life, right? There's one area where you don't know what the purpose of life is, you don't know it exists. That is one. That is one form of ignorance. The other form of ignorance is where you know there is a better way of life, where you know there is a conscious, way of living, when you know there is a higher purpose of life, but you still choose to live a very low grade life and don't think about elevating the soul at all. That is, when you are in ignorance, but you're purposefully in ignorance. Yes. So yes, we will all end in the same way, right? That teacher is right in a way. He's eating meat, he's going to die in the same way, right? Either into stool, into worms, the body turns into worms, or into ashes. For devotees as well, most of us will end in the same way. All of us will end in the same way, except the gurus who are actually buried, but everyone else will be ending in the same way, will be turning into ashes. So, what is the game changer? The game changer is our consciousness. Srila Prabhupada often said this body is a bag of bones, flesh, blood, urine, and stool. Yet we are so proud of it. Right? He laughed once in the morning walk. And you know what did he say? He said, we decorate this bag of stool and think I'm so beautiful. But if the stool bag remains open for 2 days, nobody will actually come near us. Nobody. Not even animals will come near us. So, really speaking, what are we actually proud of? Sri Jiva Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he says, Mada swabhimana janitah, swartho lobha janitah. So pride arises from self-conceit. Self-interest arises from greed. So the word over here that they have used is swartha for pride, right? Swartha, which means not mad. So mad is one of the, obviously the enemies. Mad is, I am great. But swartha is, I must gain something. If I'm living here, I must gain something from someone. And that is their purpose of living. But Srila Prabhupada was so, during his time when he was alive, when he was around us, He was killing pride, and that was one of the role of a guru, to kill, to smash the pride of the devotees. Mahatma Prabhu very beautifully shares this pastime that in 1972, what was happening was the devotees started wearing karmi clothes while distributing books. So the men started wearing pants and shirt, and the women started wearing normal denims, jeans, and t-shirt, because they were not allowed. They were kicked out of the malls, and they wanted to go and preach in the mall, so they started wearing karmi clothes. Now, a lot of devotees, like me, he says, Mahatma Prabhu says, they had been doing straight preaching, right? Straight preaching is, I meet you, I say, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I tell you all about it. That is straight preaching. We are not hiding anything, right? So they were into straight preaching. So what they said was, they resented wearing karmi clothes, right? Initially, they were wearing it, but Mahatma Prabhu and other devotees, they did not quite enjoy wearing those karmi clothes. And during the 1973 marathon, a group of devotees, including Mahatma Prabhu, decided that we will, from now onwards, go out, wear dhotis and kurtas, and women will go in saris. Because what did they think? If we had faith in Krishna, if we had faith in purity, we should be successful, right? Correct mindset. And they started getting great results, right? Books were flying, they were ecstatic. And they started telling each other, just see, you don't need to wear Western clothes, Western dress. That's a compromise. It's watered down preaching for weaker devotees who don't have faith. It's watered down preaching for weaker devotees who don't have faith. So they felt very proud and also very self righteous to be the pure ones, right? I am doing the right thing. I am wearing, sari, and I'm doing the right thing. I'm wearing sari to the temple. I am doing the right thing. My hair is tied. I am doing the right thing. So they were very excited. They wrote to Srila Prabhupada on the success of wearing devotional clothes and distributing books, right? Now, but Prabhupada, he knows everything. He is an expert. One of the qualities of Srila Prabhupada is he is an expert. What did he reply back? Now, listen to this carefully. He replied back saying, yes, if you do not feel comfortable in Western dress, then you can wear a dhoti. If you do not feel comfortable in Western dress, you can wear dhoti. So he completely shattered the false pride. One would think Srila Prabhupada's reply would be, if you don't feel comfortable wearing a dhoti, you can wear Western clothes. But what did Srila Prabhupada say? If you don't feel comfortable in Western dress, I have no objection, you can wear a dhoti. The point over here is, one of the responsibilities of the guru is to smash our false pride. Had it been the case where the person is proud of wearing Western clothes, Srila Prabhupada would have replied, if you're not comfortable wearing a dhoti, you're okay to wear a Western clothes. Because the point is, smashing that false ego is more important than the external appearance. That it is more important than the way we look, the way we dress up. Because a guru has to smash your pride. Because the guru's role is to take us back to Godhead, to take us back to Krishna. But Krishna does not accept anyone who is proud. So, do you want pride or do you want Krishna is a very important question. Do you want pride or do you want Krishna? Say, for example, if I walked into a temple, extremely filthy, smelling, because I have not, taken a shower for many, many days, and I explained to you, to each one of you, that when I become Krishna conscious, I will naturally become very clean. So there is no need for actually doing a separate endeavor and taking a shower. Then what would you think? Naturally, you are going to think that I am crazy to not be taking a shower and thinking Krishna consciousness is going to make me clean externally. And if I go on to say that someone tells me you don't follow any regulative principles, how will you ever become Krishna conscious? But I tell them, when I become Krishna conscious, I will automatically follow them. I will automatically follow the regulative principles. Then you might think, how is she ever going to become Krishna conscious if she goes to the pub every night? And she says when she becomes Krishna conscious, she's going to follow the regulative principles. Right? So we can say it is very obvious that we need to practice good principles of hygiene and make all the efforts to follow the regulative principles, the devotional principles of Krishna consciousness. But there are a lot of devotees who believe that they don't need any independent, separate endeavor to separate godly qualities. They think we don't need to do anything to separate the divine qualities. All they have to do is go on practicing devotional service, and the godly divine qualities will automatically develop. I personally know of many devotees, and we have had discussions around this topic a lot of times, where they say, I'm going to physically keep on doing services and everything will be taken care of. Whilst I agree, and Shastras say that there is some truth in it, right? Yes, the changes is going to happen in the consciousness. There is some truth in it. But services alone cannot take us back. It is the consciousness that will take us back to Godhead. So there is some truth in it. Yes, the divine qualities will develop while we are doing services. It does not mean that we don't have to endeavor to practice those qualities in life. Say, for example, if you're getting angry, it's going to pose a problem in bhakti, even when we are doing services. And if we are getting angry constantly, that's going to pose some problems. But if we are aware that we are getting angry, and if we start practicing controlling our anger, that's what is going to help our Krishna consciousness. Right? That's why we see our seniors, Viraj Krishna Prabhu and Sakirai Prabhu, constantly hammering this point that when the class is on, there should be no meetings. We should go inside. We should stop our chats, socializing outside. We should go inside, sit in the class and hear. Because when we hear these classes, we start to introspect. That's when the internal changes start to take place, because we are introspecting. Trust me, it's not easy to always sit in a class. It's easier to socialize sometimes, right? Because that's the only time I have socializing. But we have to make time, make this special endeavor if we really want to develop divine qualities in us. Right? The point is both bhakti, so it's a combination, right? It's a month of Damodar, two fingers. What do two fingers represent? Our own endeavor and Krishna's mercy, right? So Prabhupada explains in the class, if we have divine qualities, then we are eligible to go back to Godhead. Vimokshaya, we are divine ways. Prabhupada often quoted Jesus as saying, the king of God is for humble and meek. This means that the kingdom of Maya is for arrogant and proud. So we are here because we are arrogant, because we are proud of the way we look, of the way we do things, of the way we conduct our life. We are very arrogant. We might not admit it, but we are. Pride means to have high opinion of our own selves or our doings. Pride makes us think that we are very important, better than anyone else. It causes us to mistreat, disrespect others. Right? But we must remember that we are tiny, very minute spirit souls. Our soul is one part of the 10,000th, the size of the tip of a hair. I don't even know what that is, but I know that much, that it is too small. So we are not masters of anything. Krishna is the only master. We are the servant of the servant of the servants, and we should not be proud of ourselves. Right? There's a beautiful story, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's nice to just refresh it. Once there lived a scholar, and he was traveling to a different village, so he had to cross the river. So he was on the boat, and the boatman was there, and he stayed there. So as he was passing, what happened was a swamp of fish started, swimming across the boat, and he said, "Look, look." So the boatman said very calmly, "Yeah, it's a school of fish." He said, "No, no, not just a school of fish. You know what these fishes are called? They are called catla catla." Boatman said, "What?" And then he said, "I studied ichthyology. Do you know what ichthyology is?" asked the scholar. The boatman was completely disinterested and puzzled him. He said, he could not even say the word. It what? And he said, the scholar said, "You've not studied this before. Your 25% of your life is wasted." As he continued, the boatman, guiding the boat, and, he was softly humming. What happened is just then a flock of birds above them started flying. So the scholar noticed and he leaped, he jumped out of excitement and he said, took out the binoculars and he said, look up there. My goodness, they are the procellary forms Cotropera. I don't even know how to say it. So commonly known as the blue-bellied booby birds. And they are rare species indeed. And then he said, I studied ornithology. The boatman said, I've never heard of it before. Never heard of it before? You must be ashamed of yourself. Your 50% of the life is wasted. The boatman continued rowing. As they were rowing, the waves were coming a little faster. The wind began to pick up, and from cool breeze, it started changing to an energetic wind. The boatman said, looks like there's a storm coming. And then the scholar said, it's not just a storm, it's a cyclone to be exact, because they are cumulonimbus clouds. I've studied meteorology, Never heard of that too? Your 75% of the life is wasted. The wind started becoming stronger and began to push the waves, and the water started coming in the boat. The boatman jumped in the water and asked the scholar to jump. The scholar jumped. He started yelling, shouting, help, help, I don't know how to swim. The boatman said, you don't know how to swim? Your 100% of the life is wasted. So we see Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance, these qualities belong to the demoniac nature, O son of Pritha. So being pride of the subjects that we have learnt materially, what was the use of that when certain life skills were not present in that scholar? All right. So what we are doing, in our Krishna conscious movement, it's actually a life skill. It is not just theoretical knowledge. It is not just material, achievement. It is a life skill. And we must all be aware of where we are heading. During the early years in Mayapur, some devotees actually felt pride. ISKCON had gained popularity and thousands were coming, leaders were being honored. When Srila Prabhupada arrived, he saw that devotees are feeling extremely pride and proud of themselves and they're walking so arrogantly. He stopped the kirtan one time and he said strongly, as soon as we think we are big devotees, our spiritual life is finished. And then he repeated, finished. Lord Chaitanya said, Trinadapi sunichena, you must become humbler than the grass and you cannot chant purely. Everyone felt silent. And that night, every devotee cried as the kirtans were sung because they realized they could feel the demoniac qualities in them and Srila Prabhupada had crushed their pride. You know what? The problem with us devotees is spiritual pride is the most dangerous of all because it hides behind devotion. And that is the problem we have. And that is something we must be aware of. Right? That is something we must constantly work upon ourselves. Right? But there is one kind of pride which is auspicious, which is nice. What is that? Proud to be Krishna's servant in a humble way. Proud that I'm a part of Krishna, Srila Prabhupada's movement in a nice way. Proud that we are a part of our parampara, but in a humble way again. That is not ego. That is bhakti abhiman. That is abhiman. That is different. And that is acceptable. Right? In Gopal Champush, Jiva Goswami describes the trees, Arjuna and Amala, as the two trees standing in a Nan Bhavan. They were not ordinary. Because every time Krishna passed by, they were gently swaying in the breeze. Every time Krishna passed by, filled with joys, tears were flowing from the bark, waiting eagerly for Lord Krishna's darshan. So even in the tree's body, we can see in Alakuvera and Manigriva, the devotion had awakened, showing that bhakti transcends the body. The use of body is nothing. Bhakti transcends the body. Right? So while in this purport, we must notice Srila Prabhupada has pointed out the symptom pride as the root cause, but he has also given us the medicine. What is the medicine? Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta. One must approach a guru. Pride says, I already know. But the first qualification to become a sincere disciple is humility, pranipat, the willingness to bow down and inquire submissively. That's why we need a guru, to be able so that we can bow down in front of our guru. So when one is proud of the body, beauty, intelligence, position, one cannot approach a guru. Srila Prabhupada once said, the disease of this age is that everyone thinks I am independent, I don't need a guru. But without a guru, you're already cheated by your mind. You're already cheated by your mind. That's why Srila Prabhupada, we can see he spends a lot of time discussing Guru Tattva in the purport, the cure behind the blindness of Swartha, the pride. A real guru does not just talk philosophy. He gives you practical, he practically disciplines you to kill the pride. Right? Now one might think this verse talks about pride, but I have no pride. To which Srila Prabhupada says that if you think you have no pride, then you are already in illusion. Right? Even for Nalakuvera and Manigriva, it was Narad Muni, the guru, acting as their guru, who actually delivered them. So we need a guru to deliver us, to get us out of this of pride. We need a guru, right? And the guru saves us from becoming worm, stool, ashes. It saves us. And one who is guided from, it says in the purport, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One who is guided by the Acharya truly knows. A guru is someone who can see us, through our heart. That's why our seniors constantly tell us, take shelter of a guru. You've been chanting 16 rounds for a long time. Take shelter of a guru. Take initiation. And then some people say, I'm not ready for it. No, it's not about being ready. It's not an option. It is not an optional choice that you must take shelter of a guru and take initiation. It is mandatory to take initiation if we are really serious about our spiritual life. Otherwise, we can safely assume we will always be proud. We'll always be in illusion. There is no other way to get out of this pride other than approaching a guru. We must take shelter of a guru. Right? We need shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, we're just polishing the cage. So if we want to do something deep within, we must change. When Srila Prabhupada was leaving for Vrindavan, Radhanath Swami, who was not initiated then, Richard, approached him with emotion and he choked in gratitude. And you know what did he say? Srila Prabhupada, I wish to offer my life to you. If we can pause whatever we are doing in our houses right now for a moment and think and say to ourselves, Srila Prabhupada, I wish to offer my life to you. This is what Srila Prabhupada's response is to this comment. He said, with tears in his eyes, he said only 4 words. Yes, you are home. Yes, you are home. So if we can tell to Srila Prabhupada, I wish to offer my life to you, Srila Prabhupada is telling us, yes, then you are home. You are home. So if you're ready to approach a spiritual master, take shelter, do that. It is important, critical for our own bhakti. And also our temple needs it as well. Initiated devotees. To keep it running for 7 days, we need them. We need pujaris to run the temple. So if you're ready, take shelter. If gurus are not coming to, we see not a lot of gurus coming here. Let us go to them. We can go to these gurus. We can approach seniors. The problem with Australia is we are in a convenient, we are too convenient. We live a very convenient life and we are not ready to take any discomfort. No, we must approach these seniors, bona fide spiritual masters all over the world. They conduct different programs. Let's go to them. Let's attend these sadhu sanghas and different retreats and workshops that happen. And as a sincere devotee, when we approach them that we want to take shelter, Krishna's mercy, with our endeavor, Krishna's mercy is going to flow in and we will get a spiritual master. I think with that, I would like to end. It's 7 o'clock. If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, please feel free to say anything, share something.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thanks for the class. A senior Vaishnava said to me that we shouldn't rush in to find a spiritual master, that finding a spiritual master must happen within the heart. And, we must really take our time. Just wanted to know your comment on that. Thanks.
Yes, Prabhu. Absolutely. That is very true, Prabhu, that we must not rush into it. We must be ready. So that's why I said someone who's been practicing Krishna consciousness for some time, for some years, they must not wait for the right moment to come. So, but if we've been practicing for some years, for some time, then it is not a rushed decision. Then it is, we have waited enough. It's like we are in a disease state. And when we are in a disease state, we need a doctor. So that doctor is a guru, right? So if we are suffering from cancer, it is the guru who is going to treat us. Yes, we can wait and wait for the perfect doctor to come in and help us out. But if we are not able, but sometimes we need to take the steps, and we need to find that doctor to help us out. But there should be that eagerness of finding a guru, and then things will automatically happen when the time is right. Did that answer your question, Paul Prabhu?
Yes, it did. Thank you for the explanation, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I might just make a little comment. The principle of Siksha Guru and Diksha Guru is very prominent in our history. Even Lord Krishna himself had both Sandipani Muni and Gaga Muni.
Yes.
And Lord Ramachandra also. So if one is not sure, one can have so many Siksha Gurus.
Yes.
And through their association also, one can associate, as you said, with many visiting gurus.
Yes.
And then one will feel in the heart an attraction for a certain personality. And in that way, one can accept a Diksha Guru.
Yes. Thank you so much. That is such an important point, that we have Shiksha Gurus, we have seniors, we must approach them, take their shelter, who will indeed take us to our Diksha Gurus, point us in the right direction. Thank you, Prabhu, for pointing that out.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I joined late, so I missed a little bit in the class. But I was dwelling myself over this thought that you shared today. It's, with the modern society, the commitment towards something is really frightening. So, how live-in relationships are more preferable right now in the modern society over the marriage, which is commitment. Likewise, we get very comfortable to enjoy the nectar of bhakti and the guidance, but the commitment looks very scary of initiation, because you are kind of promising yourself into something which you're not sure if you are willing. I'm not sure if willing is the right word, but if you're not sure if the promise you'll be able to fulfill in the future life, and you don't want to not fulfill. And, you don't want to hold yourself responsible in putting yourself down in Guru's eyes because you're not able to fulfill your promise of, the duties or the rounds or whatever it is. So that's, and you just said that there is no choice. So
Mataji, it's like, when before becoming before having children, everybody thinks, at least my friends thought, I'm not ready to take up the responsibility of a child. I don't think I'll be able to maintain the child, will be able to do justice. I know of so many people like that. Once they have children, life completely changes. It's about children. Everything changes. The commitment automatically comes. It's not a separate endeavor. It automatically happens. Is that correct, Krishna Mataji?
that is correct, yeah.
Yes. And so when we take shelter, we have to understand the importance of mercy. We are mercy cases, right? There is so much mercy that flows that it is a two-way street. It's a leap of faith, they say. Srila Prabhupada would say it's a leap of faith. We must take it. Unless we take it, we are not progressing. Right? Yes, we cannot rush into it, but we must take shelter of Shiksha Gurus. We must take shelter of other seniors around us. Talk to them in confidence. Talk about the issues that we have, and that will help us progress nicely. But the commitment automatically comes once we take shelter.
Mhm.
It automatically happens.
Okay.
I don't know if I've.
I'm keeping myself open to it.
Yes, wonderful,
Thank
Mataji.
you,
Thank
Mataji.
you. Thank you. Okay, any other comments? One last comment, anyone? Okay, wonderful. Thank you for the discussion at the end. It's always nice to have those little discussions. Have a wonderful, blissful Tuesday. Granth Raj Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Brilliant.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.